What a week. So on Friday, I was trying to put out the Goku Black video that I had mentioned wanting to do. That had actually replaced the GT video I had talked about doing, and I decided to forego trying to rush it out because my game plan was this. I wrote out most of the script between Tuesday and Wednesday. So I got kind of confident. I said, all right, I'm going to finish this script up and I'm going to record it and then edit it and then we'll be, finished. And that turned out to not be the case. Instead, Thursday, I was really bogged down with some stuff and I just couldn't get around to it. And I couldn't convince myself that I could put out a quality video after rushing through the script, rushing through my recording of it, and then rushing through the editing process. Like I had to drop it on Friday. Had to drop that release date. So again, it'll come out at some point this week because I have most of the script written, and I'm going to try to finish the rest of it tomorrow. Oh God. Yeah, I've been up since I think 7 or 8 p.m. yesterday. And after this stream, I do intend to lay down and go to sleep because it's been a very eventful past day. I'm going to say hello to King. I haven't seen him in a while. He's decided to make a reappearance. I don't know why the lighting is still... I guess this is as good as it gets. Like I have the blinds open. I'm still not, we're getting a bit of a silhouette figure here. But yeah, I'll try to put out the video on Black. I might do a stream about Dragon Ball tomorrow, possibly. I'm just kind of debating whether I want to, like who it will be and whatnot. So that might come out. Because last week was clear cut because with Boo, I had a very specific thing of do the main villains basically back to back, the ones from Z. So it was a lot easier to pick out which ones I was going to do. Because with the androids, they're really probably more. I'd be more interested in making a video on them because just of some stuff that they do with them that kind of pisses me off. So that might be something I do later on. I don't know. I haven't, what's a good word for it? Made a total decision. So I'm still flexible on whether I'll go through with that or not. What else is going to come out? Oh, next week I've got this, I guess you could call it a relationship video. Oh, thanks. Damn. Wow. I appreciate it, King. Basically, there was I don't know if you would classify, I'll call it a relationship video. There was a chick I used to speak to on Discord who I found out because we had this conversation where she spoke by text and I spoke by my voice. So we were in a call, but she would write things in response to what I was saying. And I didn't really think much of it because, she apparently didn't have a mic or whatever. And, I didn't see any problem with it. And she claimed that she enjoyed the conversation. So imagine my surprise when I later discover that she told somebody behind the scenes, I purposely had my mic off because I didn't want him to hit on me. So the video is going to be called That Time, I don't know, I silenced a broad with my voice or terrified a broad with my voice or something like that. Because I'm just going to put it to you like this, and I don't try to make myself seem like I'm some kind of gangster or tough or any of this because I'm not. But there has never been a person on any of these websites who, when they get on a voice call or whether it's Skype or Disc, wherever the hell, I'm like, oh my God, I want them to hear my voice. That was well, Slum Digger. I'm not even surprised anymore because I already exposed that the internet is just a place to meet people that do all kind of weird stuff. Like the broad that gave me her number and then the day after that decided to stop talking to me. That means that number was only good for, well, like 18 hours, not even a full day. Yeah, and King, this is someone who, people expose themselves as being so damn fake. This is someone who gave me their Instagram accounts, that still was willing to speak to me on that website as well. Because I'm the one who chose to stop speaking to them after they just kept, not bothering to respond. They would, kind of like haphazardly, like if you said, "Hey, hey, hey," they might finally say something. So it was me that chose to cut it off. But the idea that they would sit here and in my face pretend like, "Oh, we're having some kind of good discussion," and then you're gonna talk about someone hitting on you from hearing your damn voice. I don't get turned on by clowns' voices. The only time I ever find any interest in the broad on the internet is if I actually see what she looks like. Because anybody can get behind one of these and go, "Yes, I'm so interested in you." It's not hard to do. Short shelf life. Yeah, I was shocked by that. I was like, really? You gave me your number just to do this? Not even a week later. Like I'm gonna in the video, I'm gonna show the screenshot. She gave me her number. It was like the 16th or something. The day after that, just nothing anymore. Yeah, she really thought someone was trying to get, and I'm like, oh my god. You know what? That's why I said I have a lot more respect for the chicks that just tell you up front, "I don't like you." You go to like a mall or something, and no, she had a decent voice, but the idea that I'm gonna hear, like, just again, think of this. Whatever you believe the average broad to sound like kind of like a monotone, I don't know, pattern. That's not necessarily arousing, but it's not bad to hear. It's just the idea that that person would have this big, huge, enormous ego to think that I'm going to hear their voice and then become obsessed with them because I've never heard a broad's voice, apparently. Jesus Christ. But yeah, I'll go more into detail about that on, was on, what day is that going to come out? Probably Thursday or Friday. Now you know what it is. She was thinking he has to earn the right to hear. Well, no, no, no. That's the thing. That this wasn't just the reason this is stupid is because I later found out. Um, I'm gonna explain in the video. Basically, if you know that they spoke with their actual voice to other people in there in large groups, it just makes what they did to me all the more sleazy. But that's why I said I don't. I'm so done with talking to people online. Just all they do is tell lies and pretend to be cool with you and then try to file a trick. Jesus Christ. Man, I don't even bother these people. They're just they found all kind of ways to be weird. God. Also, I'm gonna do this video on why the last 6 months have been hell. Because a lot of people have started to say, "Oh, the virus made everything bad." I was like, "Yeah, but things already were pretty horrible before that, and the virus just kind of made it worse for more people." Which is not to say I'm glad or anything, but it's to pretend that stuff was fine before late March is a joke. Well, no, the one that gave me her number and vanished the day after that, I know where she works, I know what state she lives in, what city, her real first name. All I'm saying is I don't understand how you can put out all of that information and then treat That's why I said I can't. One of the reasons I don't like talking to chicks anymore is because I can't figure out what the hell they're doing. You have a broad who gives you all of this personal information, and you think, oh, they must trust me. They're trying to do something. They claim they don't do this to other people, and then they turn on you literally right after that. Oh, you have no idea, Roman. It's the same person that what do you call it? Was holding it. When I did the terrible trio that I was describing, it's one of the members of that doing it again. So after the next one, I got to go and message them again and say, hello, can you do the damn thing? Hello, please, pretty please. You already share your thought. Man, you can go look through my playlist. I have his name in the title of the video. Well, it's King. It's like being on a hamster wheel. It just goes like this. You keep thinking you're getting some kind of progress, but you're really just staying in the same position. And you're not staying in that position because you want to be there. You're there because the people who could help to take you out of it refuse to do so. I mean, when I do the video on why the last 6 months have been hell, I'm going to mention how I've done over 106 applications, and you just you hear nothing back, and then you get blamed for it because I'm supposed to be able to jump in these people's skin and make them speak to me. And then you have these people who come on here and do the little speculation game. I actually took a month long break. I didn't apply anywhere for all of May, and I don't feel bad either because I just I'm not even going to bother pretending that I would even think for a moment that month would have made the difference because all the ones before didn't. They love doing that. If you ever just say to hell with something, they act like right when you said to hell with it, it was just going to magically get better. There's a whole bunch of little like scripted videos I want to do. Like I want to do one on the when the Lady Lack and Logic was all skeptical about because I mentioned before the reason I didn't graduate from college is because I couldn't afford it. They wanted 12 grand and I don't have that to get to some school. Um, but my decision to not go was after consulting multiple elder relatives about assisting me, and these conversations were numerous. So there were about 3, 4 different conversations with these various people, and she hears this and she goes, "Well, there must have been something you could have done." So skepticism to the if I had done all of what I could do to stay in school. But then when she hears about this broad that gets knocked up, that we know can't afford to take care of her kid, oh, she probably has trauma in her background, and she's probably going through things, and I was like, oh, how do you juxtapose defending a broad that ruined her own life and being skeptical of a dude that couldn't go to school anymore, not because his grades were bad, not because of anything having to do with his actual academic performance, because he couldn't afford the crap. Dude, you know what? And I'm actually going to make this point in the video. I almost stopped speaking to that whore after she said that. Because let me tell you something. Um, I can put up with a lot of stupid opinions on politics and these cartoons, whatever. Especially from people online because we're not speaking on some regular basis. But there are certain parameters that you do not cross and expect to speak to me on some kind of friendly, continuous level. Because like she literally sounded like a troll when she was talking. I felt like I was on the phone with the troll, like I was gonna see this little green gremlin come out of my screen. Well, maybe there has to be something you can do. I said, well, hell, ho, we spoke to them 4 or 5 times each. You want me to grab them by the neck? Jesus. Oh yeah, this is so common. Oh yeah, that is so common. Slum Digger's gonna get pissed. I didn't specifically quote him or quote him accurately enough. It's that same double standard. Men are expected to own their mistakes, not saying you did something wrong. There is always some explanation for why a woman messed up. I just, well, that's why it gets on my nerves because when I look at, and I was going to make this point in the video, the 6 months one. If you look at the chick thing, if you look at what I've described of my educational background, it always has to do with what someone else doesn't want done. So, for example, when you're in preschool, middle school, high school, you get told, if you don't pass your classes, you're not going to graduate. And then with me, I passed all my classes and I still couldn't, get the damn degree. Not because, again, of my academic performance, but just not having 12 grand to give to some school. So I just wish people would look at the nuances of stuff instead of, let's have sympathy for you depending on what's in between your legs. King says the debt alone makes you question how this narrative that everyone needs a college education is more detrimental and not meant to be used to persuade individuals who don't desire to go in debt. Well, that's my thing. The reason I didn't bother anymore with student loans was because I couldn't justify to myself how having this piece of paper was worth being like spending the next the second half of my life paying off of this stuff, having an anchor or an anchor by my ankle. And again, like King, think about this. I put up the jobs that I applied to. I put up KFC, 7-Eleven, all these different positions. You see all kind of people working at. And you have people who will go on here and say, maybe they're not accepting you because you don't have a degree. Well, hell, if you need a degree to work here, then apparently it doesn't really matter. I guess what I'm saying is I don't understand if these menial positions really need a degree, then how the hell, like, I'm supposed to believe everybody that works here just has a degree. And that's another point. The whole point of showing the places was so that it would eliminate suspicions about, what type of positions they were. They act like I'm applying to be CEO of Microsoft or the Google chairman or something. Jesus. College, I already said it was a scam, Slum Digger. You people red scare you. You remember what red scaring is, right? Where they try to, if you don't do this, this is gonna happen. They, try to make you all afraid. They red scare you into thinking that if you don't get this piece of paper, your life will be ruined and over before it begins. And then you get the piece of paper, and you also get a bunch of debt, and then you can't buy anything. And then when you're in debt, people tell you, the same group of people tell you, well, you got yourself into debt, and that's on you. Or if you're empathetic, they still, want to keep parroting this claim that somehow the juice is worth the squeeze when it really isn't. Parents to suggest community colleges a means to cut the cost for students who want the university. No, that's what I went to, King, and I got into a university and I still got, well, I didn't get in debt, but I still was susceptible to getting screwed over like a lot of other people do. I just cut the umbilical cord and said, hey, if these people are not going to pay for this and it's already been cut by more than half, to hell with it. All right, there's this thing on Discord. That's another website on my list. Pisscord. Oh yeah, I forgot. So I often mention the dingbat with the baby, and I've talked about it a lot. I get where someone might find it annoying, whatever. Um, but one of the reasons that I bring this person up is because this is someone who I personally knew for a very long time and used to think very highly of until they started doing stupid stuff. And I was really disturbed by the change in behavior of the people around us, where they went from condemning this person when they first found out they were knocked up to basically sitting on her hand and foot and acting as if she was some kind of, you know, hero for opening her legs. Well, guess what? Yesterday, something amazing happened. I was made privy to a conversation by one of the primary caretakers of the child, and they mentioned that the dingbat with the baby seems to not really want to accept the responsibilities of having a kid. That she decided to just have a child and is now surprised by the amount of work that goes into it. To say I feel vindicated is an understatement. Oh, and by the way, she was caught lying to one of the people who assist her with taking care of her child. That's a what a great mother. You can't even think how like. And I guess this is just me. Okay, if I trust someone enough to watch my own flesh and blood, particularly that the flesh and blood that was made by me, not some cousin or whatever, but made by my kid. But then I don't trust you to know about. I think it was like some account or something. You know, I don't get how that works. It's like, yeah, I don't trust them to know about this stupid account I have with, I guess, some amount of coins in it, but I trust you to watch my kids at least twice a week for hours without me being there, and when you could theoretically do anything you wanted to this child of mine. So I said I live in the twilight zone. People and their way of thinking. All right, let me read Slum Digger's comment. Uh, oh, okay, wait, did I read? Oh no, I didn't read King's comment. You guys been writing all kind of paragraphs. I didn't even see this. Okay, King said parents to suggest community. Okay, I read that. Right, it's not all debt free either way. Sometimes doesn't matter what you do. Yeah, that school wanted 30 grand, and it got cut by more than half with the grants that I had, and these people still wouldn't help me pay for it. So I'll continue to be blamed for the rest of my life for not having 12 grand 2 years out of high school. Yeah, I don't blame you. You made the best choice you could. Some people just like to play that devil's advocate role, look for where you messed up so they can act self righteous. Oh, they love doing that. And I guess what I always found disturbing is I've really tried to be consistent with my conversations where if a person relates to me that they have, let's say I'm talking to some woman and she says, "Oh, my boyfriend cheated on me," because I don't have blind devotion to penises, I'll probably believe her because I would figure what is the incentive to try and not take that at face value. But if I were to go and tell the lady lacking logic, hey, this woman, I even gave the example. I told her about a broad who literally said she would not speak to me unless it was by text. And her response after hearing my repeating of what this broad said to me verbatim was to say, I think she meant to say that she wasn't ready to speak by phone yet. I had to go into my Reddit account, which I hate because I don't like it, it's a bitter memory just going on that website. But I had to go into this account, dig for this message, and read it to her for her to step aside from trying to play devil's advocate. And it's like this is what I'm talking about. Things that are so simple, problems that they can easily avoid. They just make into big issues. All she had to do was just hear me say this, go, wow, that's stupid, would have been over. If she had said some guy had, for example, said, I'm only going to speak to you by text and don't talk to me if you don't want to do this, I would have said, yeah, that's stupid, and then continued speaking about whatever. But they can't do that. They have to get hooked up in all these little parts to try and, spin a narrative about you not doing the right things or you took someone's word out of context. No, the narrative always made is that it's your fault and didn't work and didn't work hard enough. BS. Hey King, when you approach enough chicks to where you can't even remember the number, you worked hard enough. And then I got these people. I can't believe you stopped approaching chicks regularly 3 years ago. I'm sure by now one of them would have shown interest if you had just waited or you got out. I was like, dude, 2011 to that year, that was 6 years of actively looking for abroad. I just said to hell with it. Like I even told the story of the first chick I ever liked, knew her for 5 years. And then, she went around slandering me after I said I liked you. Like I watched myself grow a beard before one of these bastards would go on a date. So I just said to hell with it. All right. I just there's too many other productive things I can do with my time than talk to people who want to play games. Mm. Every one of these bastards wants to get on the phone and go and laugh all day long, and then get surprised when it's really easy for you to stop speaking to her. It's like, yeah, because I'm the only one doing any work. I'm the only one trying to make some jokes or tell some riveting tale. You're just sitting there doing your little stupid voice. Okay. Slumdigger says also reminds me of the just world fallacy. Oh God, I hate that. You guys may be familiar with it, but essentially it's the bias that if something bad happens to someone, they deserved it. Obviously false. Um, yeah, it's another stupid thing people try to use to make. As a matter of fact, I think I'm gonna steal that line you just brought up, the just world fallacy. I'll put that in the video. Well, King, it's not. Why do you think so many people will call a man that's approached dozens of chicks gay? It's not about being logical. It's all about emotion. That's why you had all these guys talking about this woman is out of your league and all that crap. And like, you're a man telling another man you don't find him attractive, and you're claiming to be straight. You don't see where that looks weird. And I do mean this very sincerely. I have never gone up to another man ever, just in my entire, I will swear on the grave of every single relative that I have ever had, every ancestor and descendant, which I doubt I will have because this chick thing seems like it's never ending. But I have at no point ever gone up to another man and said, this woman is out of your league, because I don't determine that. That's not my role to play. Just like when I had that one Christian tell one of my relatives I was going to hell because I said church crap. I don't go around telling people they're going to hell. You might say go to hell, but I'm not going to boldly predict that this is your destination is fire and brimstone. Uh, from there you will atone for your lack of sanity and your crimes against humanity. People just think they're so powerful. Swear it's like watching a little game of clowns. And I guess maybe at a certain point I shouldn't be that surprised by it, but it's like every now and again they just throw a little curveball at me. So like Roman, you mentioned the episodes are finally coming out. Uh, one of the VAs that have been giving me trouble for a long time finally started recording stuff kind of like a little bit ahead of me, and I was like, oh my god, yes, please, this seems like a silver lining. And I legitimately got excited because they did about, I think, 3 or 4 scripts without me being on that particular one, meaning that they were for the first time in over a year actually ahead of me. I didn't have to keep harassing them and going, hey, did you do this? Hey, can you do this? And I said, yes, this person is finally listening to me. I spoke to them about this. It seems like we might finally see a change. And then I sent them another script. I think it was like 2 weeks ago, 2 scripts. They go right back doing the exact same thing. You have to harass these people. And it's like the only reason I even put up with this is because I know of how ridiculous acquiring a VA is in the first place. I really, I always talk about how dumb the dingbat with the baby is, but I have a lot of sympathy for the, I don't want to say the baby daddy, but the boyfriend, because I mentioned that I thought the reason he kept putting up with the stuff he did was because he genuinely believed he was never going to get with another woman. Like he was so starved of female attention that he would just almost do anything just to have a regular partner that was kind of stable. Uh, so that's kind of how I feel about the project, where it's like I've got the same one or two VAs that are just driving me crazy. And the only reason I keep them is because I genuinely don't believe it's going to be either easy or possible to replace them with someone else. I don't know. We parallel each other, and the only difference is the thing that they're screwing me up on isn't actually, a human life that's going to take 18 years to raise correctly, and that they already play the hand in screwing up before it even started. Okay, told those people I simply had no girl like me the same way and still get scrapped on. I don't know why they care. I remember this one time I was in 12th grade, and there was a student in the class with me, and he was like, "You have?" We were sitting at a table together. They used to have all these little tables lined up. He's like, "Do you have a girlfriend?" Like, what? Why? Because it was just strange to me. I don't understand why. And I'm not going to try to say he's gay or anything, because I'm not. I don't believe that. But it's because he explained that he didn't have one, and he was curious as to who had one. It's just when you think about stuff like that, it's just those early warning signs of how many people are affected by this. Oh my God, Envoy decided to show up. Hey, Envoy, which president were you talking about in the other stream that all the clowns and degenerates come on to it? Slum Digger, the end of that stream was terrible. You had some guys talking about Dinesh D'Souza and the trick of a party switch in the city, and I'm just like, what does this have to do with anything relating to Floyd, or like what? I don't even vote for Democrats. You coming over here whining about the DNC to me? What? It's weird. Yeah, because I just didn't appreciate having people on there like that. I'm here to talk about Owens and her, response to the Floyd protest, and you're going to come over here talking about the history of political parties in the U.S. Or you can always replay it. I remember the good old days when YouTube didn't have the replay option where you got to see people's comments in the chat. So you would just have to figure out from what the person was saying what people in the chat were doing. There was a video somebody made. We all know how the parties work at this point. I wonder your thoughts on OBJ, since I think he did a lot within his 6 years in office. Oh, I thought you were going to be like a certain other person who, just by me saying that I liked LBJ, wrote not one, not five, not 10, not 15, but 17 comments, just pissing himself over that fact. Like, you would think I was his daddy from just how upset he got. And I remember when I did that stream, if I remember correctly, I took my glasses off so I couldn't read what he was writing as I was reading the thing, the news article on the phone. Only thing I can find that was an issue is how the Vietnam War escalated under his regime. Well, yeah, but my thing is, Vietnam was a continuous problem under multiple. It's kind of like a foreign version of the war on drugs, where because it just kept going under so many people. Uh, I can still say it sucks, but he just did too much in the domestic realm for me to throw him out. That's why when that guy came over here talking about uh, Johnson is the reason that black babies don't have dads. And then you go to his channel and he's never even spoken about that topic at all. But I'm sitting here because I even when I did my stream rebutting this point, I mentioned the fact that over 70% of whites are born in wedlock. And as most people know, whites make up a majority of the welfare system. So is there like some secret language that specifically has blacks to end up with most of them not being born in wedlock? If the person who makes up the majority still is born in wedlock? But see that's when you have to look at other factors like the school to prison pipeline, blacks getting disproportionately jailed for drug offenses, not violent, all that. That's the kind of stuff they don't want to get into because it shatters this narrative that Johnson destroyed all these people, because we all know that when all these clowns were having kids they couldn't afford and that were born out of unions, it was Johnson that opened all their legs and made them have sex with each other. Am I right? I was watching a stream. Oh no, not him. Man, he's another one of the people that likes to pretend that he's the decider of who is African American and who is not. I'm good. Like I said, I don't even like Candace Owens, but I'm not going to sit here and call her an ethnic trait. It's stupid. And again, I even on the stream said it was correct when she mentioned that people like Larry Elder, Condoleezza Rice, whoever the hell, any black conservative, just by being right leaning, they get accused of being treacherous to other blacks. And I really hate that because I don't know why we all have to think alike. Well, Envoy, that's why I've kind of walked away from really directly addressing any of it because it just isn't worth the hassle. I'm glad that I don't have a criminal record. I'm glad I don't have any. I've tried it to have a marriage and to if I had kids to have them born in wedlock. So I'm trying to do everything I can to not be part of these crappy statistics. Mm. King says like they committed a crime. Who committed a crime? Was it me? Was it Envoy? The only way you can win is just don't say anything. Because that's really what this is all about. If you have a difference of opinion on this, you know, you're the problem. Like I said, I'm just tired of a lot of the like weird. I guess I can always put up with political backlash because that was my main thing. You have an opinion on anything, somebody has a problem with it. I just think it's strange when it's like stuff that I kind of have reconciled with because I learned a long time ago that even if I don't participate in weird behaviors like having kids you can't afford, cheating on your partner, people are still going to do that stuff anyway. And unfortunately, they're going to end up hurting a lot of people and ruining a lot of lives. And I'm kind of powerless to stop it. I can only influence it as far as I'm concerned. But the rest is up to other people in their own lives. Speaking from their warped perspectives. Oh yeah, like you committed a sin by being a Republican. Like that's the worst thing you can do. God, people are just they get so attached to this, and I guess what bothers me is if they really cared about elections, like you have a lot of people who are talking trash about Trump. If the Democrats had a super majority in the House and Senate, they could literally block pretty much anything, any bill or legislation he would try to pass. but they don't want a majority because then that would require them to actually do work, and they're just trying to grandstand so they can fundraise. I already talked about why they like having Trump up there, because it's a lot easier to fundraise when it looks like you're fighting the opposition, and the opposition is so evil and dangerous and unprecedented. Well, I understood why people were outraged over the week on social media. It was scary how volatile people got that knew damn well they weren't going to do anything. My God. Yeah, King, people don't vote in. I'm like I said, I am very proud of the fact that I have voted in every single election since I've been legal to vote. So then since the 2016 one, and then the midterm after that, and then the this current presidential election cycle. But a lot of people don't even care. They just get fired up every 4 years. Um, it's really pathetic. I just can't take them seriously because it's like I'm following. Whether I get 10 or one view, I'm still following this stuff daily, and then these people all just kind of sit in their little bubble and are hush hush. You don't know what they're thinking, or if they're even thinking about this stuff at all. This all due to the election night. Anytime it's election time, they heighten up the. Oh, here we go. I left a comment regarding people leaning left and those who lean right, and how the internet reacts to opposition. I thought I read that already, where you said people are outraged over the week on social media. It was scary how volatile people get that knew damn well they weren't gonna do anything. My God, isn't that what you wrote? Unless it got deleted. Uh, the stream about a person I will not name. He's controversial. Uh, when you're vanishing comments. You know how the internet is. Everyone is highly volatile. Uh, I'm trying to make sure I see it. I think Envoy is trolling me. He's part of the paid opposition. They come in here and say, "Hey, you didn't read my comment." And then you look for it and you don't see it. And you waste like 10 minutes of people's time. They all start leaving the stream. They're like, "You didn't see my comment. Ha ha." And he probably wrote something mean. Because we all know that's how Envoy is. He likes to be hateful, especially on Saturday. By the way, that was actually my second best attended. Like I said before, the biggest audience I ever had for a stream was 20 people, and I was like, I think 2 years ago. But this is the biggest. I guess if it wasn't bigger than that, it had to have been bigger in terms of just how many people stopped by. Because by the time I uploaded, it was over 200. It was crazy. Like, what the hell? This is pretty weird. Oh, they almost makes me want to talk about her again. We're gonna have a weekly Candace segment. Mm. I did notice that there is a tendency for a larger viewership whenever you talk about one of the other commentators. Because I know when I did the videos on Jank, I was getting over 100 on average. I was like, where are these people coming from? I'm pretty sure the video I did on like announcing his campaign got, I think it was like 300. So people do, they show up for certain stuff, certain titles. And trying to inform them just becomes pointless when they think all the power belongs to the presidents. Well, yeah, they act like the president is the emperor. But it's really disturbing because I see a lot of progressives who act that same way. Where I'm part of their group, and we're supposed to be the ones who are informed about these topics, and we don't fall for the BS that the media churns out, or that the Republicans or either major party, right? But then will still sit there and prop up somebody to run for president. Like right now, I'm hearing AOC needs to run, AOC needs to run. So like that's all you guys care about, just president. How about you focus on getting back a super majority in the House, or getting any seats in the Senate? Like Jesus. So I say I can't take them seriously. They talk a good game, but I'm not buying it. This is how the internet works. If you're right leaning, you're a bootlicking. If you're left leaning, you're an SJW who always sees color. Of course, I always see color. I'd have to be colorblind and not see it. Maybe I should get my Crayola crayons and I don't know, stick them in my eyes or something. Like, oh, I only see green. No, I did that marijuana video and somebody got mad. They were like, "These stupid socialists. It's not legalized. It's some." It's like I'm just reading the article. Calm down. I didn't say anything because what's the point? Haters gonna hate. I already said I kind of got to a point with a lot of these comments where I don't bother responding by text because I know what's up. Sometimes people like stumble across a video because of its title, and it could be weeks old, months old. In the case of the one they've been commenting on recently, 3 years old. I said the hell with it. I'm not even gonna bother trying to make this make any more sense than it already doesn't. Yeah. By the way, Envoy, I decided for 18, I'm gonna just do a whole video about her being wasted instead of a stream because some of the stuff they've done to her is criminal. Like they need to put some of these writers in jail. I was just sitting here one day and I took all the arcs after Cell, so Boo and then everything in GT and Super, and I was really disturbed by how much stuff I was able to think of relating to her that I could like wove in the story. I was like, wow, really? Nobody thought to do this. And I remembered that in that series, whenever you pop out a kid, you suddenly forget how to fight. And it all made sense. It all came flashing back. Oh God, I really am at my wits end with this. And like I get to a point now where I just look at the application, I just go, another 3 to 5 minutes wasted with these stupid companies. But again, the only reason I do it is because I know that if you go too long a period without doing it, people go, "Oh, well, this isn't fair. You should apply more regularly." So I just said, "To hell with it. Let's do these regularly and get the same result. Maybe then they'll shut up. Oh no, all right." Yeah, I did 8 of them this week. I'm gonna see if I can do some more tomorrow or Monday. I'm trying to keep it to where it's more. It's like one for each day of the month or more. I said the hell with it. These people are gonna sit here and think I'm making all this stuff up, and regardless of what proof I have, and that's the craziest part to me. I show so much proof. Like with the chick stuff, I have the screenshots. With the employer thing, I've got the screenshots. Hell, I could probably dig up the. I don't like to say the school's name because they're a symptom of the problem rather than the actual problem themselves. Like they left a bad taste in my mouth, but that could have happened anywhere. But I could easily go and like dig through my email and find where they sent me the application acceptance. They're like, "Oh, you've been invited to join our junior class at the University of da 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 da." And I was so excited. I was like, "Yes, finally a real school instead of some, just oh, just get duped and tricked and too much red herring." Yeah, I've heard the same thing that people have connections, but That's why I was saying about there's nuances to this stuff that people online don't want to acknowledge. Like the guy that, and I even yeah, I'm not going to say his name, but I think Slum Digger might know what I'm talking about. The guy who said, "Why are you?" Because I mentioned that the point of showing 31 7-Elevens is not to make it seem like this is just this evil store I'm so obsessed with working at. It's because when you're talking about 98 places and people have skepticism to whether these are high profile positions or not, uh, and you show that it's something as meaningless or rather as non essential as sitting up and standing all day long in some store. And this guy's response is, "Why are you so hell bent on working at 7?" I was like, "I'm not. I'm just showing you that if I can apply to 30 plus of these and only hear back from two of them, that's a problem." It's like, damn, you would think I'd have to apply to every one of them in the state. And I might work in somewhere like Wyoming or Vermont, but not over here. People don't care. They say whatever they want. It's absurd at this point. No one employer wanted you. No, what they do, King, is that they either say nothing, um, or now they're blaming the virus. That's a really original excuse. Or they do what that lady did, where they call you, they schedule to speak to you, and then they don't follow up. I hate that more than anything else because I get so excited. Like, yes, finally something might actually happen. A miracle is on the way, and then up back to business as usual. Companies treating you like trash. Yeah, Envoy. Uh, I had one of the employers. They called me at 5 p.m., which is significant because everybody can look this up. That's usually dinner time or around dinner time. I said, I'm getting some dinner. They scheduled to call me at 1 p.m. the following day. 1 p.m. the following day comes, I don't get a call from them. Somebody will say, "Why didn't you leave a voicemail?" Their answering machine is backed up, probably from all the other people that they've been lying to. So I got sick of it. But see, it's another one of those things where I get, oh, maybe if you had left a voicemail 2 years ago. Oh my God, you just can't win. Yeah. I don't know. Everybody wants to ask. I tell you, sometimes it feels like you're doing an interview. I ask all kind of stuff. How tall are you? Do you like this show? When was the last time you had sex? It's like Jesus. I didn't realize this was what, like a failed SNL skit. Yeah, people ask so many like I'm just this confusing figure. It's really not that hard to arrive at certain conclusions. Mm. People ask so many questions. It's not even necessary. Like, why does it matter? It doesn't affect you. No, there's too much Q&A going on. I feel like eventually we're gonna have a stream where I have one of those like those lawn chairs, and I'm like laying up against it like this. I'm like, well, it all started when I was 5, and I'm gonna be the new Woody Allen. It'll be called Confessions of a I don't know a commentator or something. Oh, so many questions. I'm starting to get a little scared. I think uh, you love is gonna try to what do you call it? Write a novel on me. He's gonna be like, I learned all this information from the man himself, and they're like, oh, he was that willing to disclose all that. Oh no, I just kept asking him all kind of stuff about himself. One day I was just walk down the street. I didn't know your favorite colors were red and black. It's like I didn't tell anybody. Yes, you did. You told you love and he put it in his book. I didn't authorize that. Let me get my lawsuit ready. Oh God. So let's see next week, the black video, the one on the broad that was such a pansy that she got scared of my voice or thought I would didn't deserve her voice or something like that. What else? I think that's pretty much it. As far as like a little special editing stuff. Remember what Biden said, folks? If you don't vote for him, you're not black. Yeah, and then you should go to on his talk page on Wikipedia. They were trying to play interference. This was just a poor comment he made that likely will not hold historical relevance. Like you idiots, who are you to predict what's going to hold historical significance? And I've never seen a presidential candidate say something like that. Where if you don't vote for that, like imagine how racist. You know what? I'm not even going to say it because I'm good. I'm not even going to bother with it. Mm-mm. Stay clear of that one. Too much trouble has been derived toward me over stuff other people do. So not playing that game today. God, there's such a almost continuous desire among people to just find problems and stuff. Oh yeah, I remember that one. That was during the initial campaign. I told you what I thought would get him was that he put out Graham's phone number, this the senior senator from South Carolina. Like I've never seen a presidential candidate put out another presidential candidate. Like you not know how dangerous that is. And I thought he was finished, and that's probably like I think a month in his campaign because I've never seen anything like that. Yeah, I'm gonna start doing that. If you don't watch me, you're not black. You're a self hater because I am you. Like that'll increase my viewership. Let me insult the audience. What a brilliant decision that was. Like, they didn't even care. It's like whatever. We're just winging it at this point. They just sit around just kind of playing these little stupid games. Let me make a racial remark here, and then I'll couch it in some fancy rhetoric. So I'll say, "Oh, I didn't mean that," and "Oops, that was my mistake." It may be too late. I mean, I hear that a lot, but then people keep finding ways to continue doing stuff. So I'll have to humbly not entirely side with that. Maybe I don't know. God, I'm really astonished by some of the characters we have walking around now. Like I remember one time I was going to this mall, maybe 2 or 3 months before the virus started, and I was just sitting there looking at his defeated corpse on the screen of my phone. Like, oh my god, I'm having a brain fart. Jimmy says, "What's happening?" Well, I'm very tired, and I'm trying to entertain a series of people and I was telling some story. Oh, now I remember there was some weird looking broad at the mall. Yeah. Oh, yeah. She had like. Okay, now let me get this correct. She was black, which whatever. But she had bright. You know those hair colors that nobody would ever get naturally, like bright red, and then she owned some kind of green blue. It was what the hell? But see, let me see how this works. If she came on here and made a video and like I don't know, talked about men or whatever, uh she would, you know, have no one say anything nasty to her, have no one uh, try to insult her. But certainly, if someone did try to insult her, they would get told that they're bashing women and you're using your male privilege. I remember I had this one teacher when I was in. Now King is insulting me, saying I'm not very bright. I'm so hurt. But I had this one teacher when I was in 12th grade, and she had said that I was that the male students, or I had male privilege or something like that. That this is why these chicks have all these little different weird hairstyles. I was thinking to myself, lady, I because this is right around the time I started putting up the romance stuff on YouTube. It wasn't that much of it, but it was a little bit of it. And I was like, all I did was get mocked over my appearance. And you're gonna talk about man, no, the male privileges. You don't have the privilege of having people try to defend you and respond and attack those who attacked you. Because if a broad gets attacked, everybody comes out the woodworks, shows up. They say, "How could you do this?" Oh my god, where'd Homeboy go? God, can't wait to do that video, which will probably have the comments disabled because I'm just not in the mood. Like, if you're gonna write something nasty, go write it somewhere else. I remember I knew this one guy that was he was against the Venezuela sanctions, or rather, he was in favor of the U.S. like trying to tell them who their leader was. And I said to him, if you think I'm stupid and you're smart, why don't you turn your camera on and articulate why you believe the U.S. invading a foreign country doesn't give two damns about other than its oil is going to benefit the people there. He's like, no, I don't think I'll do that. I was like, yeah, of course you won't. It's not even about calling someone cowardly, but it's just I don't understand how you can have opposition to a very practical conclusion, which is that the U.S. has a history of messing with other countries simply to get whatever's inside of them. And they try to couch it in rhetoric about freedom and restoring humanity and all this garbage that means nothing. And then while they're talking about freedom, they've got, what was it, their second to last president jailed journalists 6 times with the Espionage Act. So I said it's just all hypocrisy. I bet his argument is something like America needing the oil. No, he just kept repeating the same thing. Maduro is a bad guy. Maduro is a bad guy. Maduro is so mean. It's like, yes, we know he's bad, but we're like, you think the US is better? Damn, and I even gave the comparison. I said that's like me being the leader of I don't know, Canada, and I say to hell with Trump, Hillary is the president of the US. It's like, no, it's why he had an election. Justifying how they get it. Pretty much. Where'd Envoy go? He just vanished. He got upset that I wasn't speaking to him for a few moments. I'm gonna put up a missing persons poster with Envoy's avatar on it. Like, have you seen this user? He was last spotted at night. Then I like timestamp his last comment. And then it's like physical description, not available. People are such clowns on here. I don't know, it's just been a really crappy year. Like, and I guess people have been trying to use the virus and this protest, and it's like, no, it sucked before that because this year started off in the aftermath of this really stupid housing remodeling crap. Then you had this thing with this VA lying her behind off month after month until she just stopped responding. So it's and then obviously the employment situation. Yeah, but I just wish that people would stop acting like the short 2 or 3 month period before the virus was a good thing. Like that was something we need to go back because that still sucks. They love rewriting history. Oh man, remember the good old days when you could walk outside and get your brains blown out in your own neighborhood and not have anybody care about you until you died. Yeah, those are such great days. I watched a stream earlier today where there was a person who wasn't saying exactly the best things about Floyd, but they were telling the truth about how when people die, that all of a sudden we start caring about them, and I really I hate that so much. God, and again, that's not a specific shot at him. That's just in general. There's like a really weird fetish that people have with those that are deceased. Make America great again. The whole point, right? Yeah, it's so terrific. Record levels of unemployment, a virus that killed more people than the Vietnam War. Oh my God. And I would not run on a platform of chicks. I couldn't care less at this point. Well, I just, in the sense that I couldn't care to think that being in office is going to do anything other than surround me by gold diggers and opportunistic tramps. And that's why I said that every time people start talking about you need all this money to get with the broad, it it's like a really weird what's a good word for it? It's like they're admitting to you that they believe all chicks are gold diggers, but then they want to like couch it in sounding like it's reasonable uh, for just any random broad to have that expectation of you. Yeah, but that's my thing. If it's an event that I think has been covered in depth already by other sources, I'm not really that interested, especially if it's not a person, because there are a lot of important people I'd rather discuss. So I can link you to Vietnam War documentaries if you want to, but I'm not. It just it feels overdone to me. It's the same thing with it's like, oh, why won't you do an MLK documentary? Because everybody's already done that. There's like 10 of those walking around. Not walking around, but being re-uploaded everywhere. Man, they had this really good one on the History Channel. I was about maybe because I remember I think they did it for the 40th anniversary. That's like 2000 2009, and it was I remember the narrator had this like really what's a good word for it, stoic voice, and he was like 30 days before King's murder. This was it's like damn it. I wish someone recorded it because I think I saw it again on YouTube at one point. It was really good. It's just interesting when you give your recounts of certain historical events. What I understand. Oh no, I'm not saying there wouldn't. You might not get an appeal. I'm just saying that there's so much other stuff that I think is important that I don't see getting covered, or at least has a much smaller chance of getting that kind of coverage than if I do it. Which again is not to brag about how I'm the historian, but it's just to say that there's certain stuff I pay a little more attention to because other people ignore it. Women work, get income, me and provide and protect if I give them. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I apologize, Roman. You said me, and then you corrected it. That was my fault because I didn't see the correction. Uh, did you see the suspiciously placed bricks in protest area story? I did not. I've largely kept out of this event. I talked about Owens because this lady got 1 million views on that video in like 2 days, and her name was trending for multiple days. She really made herself larger. God, I mean, like I'm just imagining 1 million views off of just saying dumb stuff. Like you really can profit from stupidity. I swear. Let's see. I'd have to go buy a book on him because I there's like a lot of the news articles from his tenure on the court. Yeah, they're like behind a paywall, like slimy websites like the New York Times. Like, yeah, you can see this article from 1965. You just have to spend 60,000 or whatever per decade or something. So I would consider him. Yeah, like the only way I could get articles about him is to go pay various news websites to grab the stuff for me. That's not even just New York Times, Anchorage Daily News, all those people with their little hidden agendas. Washington Post. Yeah, you literally have to pay. I remember one time I was on the New York Times. They had an article about Truman, and it was like him reacting to something that Ted Kennedy said, and I was like, "Oh man, I want to see that." And then I click on it, and then it's some old crap talking about if you want to see this article, you can see it. You just have to spend. It's like to hell with it. And to this day, I have not been able. I remember it was like 65, 66, like the year. I'm pretty accurate on the year, and I never found out what that was because they want people to give them coins for information, which I guess is kind of what Wikipedia is doing right now. If you've ever been on there and seen their donations, and then Music Fiend is over there screaming. He's trying to, I guess, be a big bad wolf. Hmm. I don't like to usually talk about how tired I am because I know that sounds self-centered and all that, but man, when this stream is over, I'm gonna lay down and I'll be passed out probably for the rest of the day. I suggest all of us try and visit the library this year. There are a lot of books that I like and I want to get my hands on, but again, when you have a situation where you don't have a incoming, or rather not incoming, but a income, you kind of have to limit how much stuff you're able to get around. That's why that thing on Wikipedia pissed me off because it's like, oh yeah, you use free articles. Well, hell, I'm trying with what I can afford. Sorry if I don't have 99 books sitting around. And I'm always trying to be a troll, the mod troll. Everybody wants to make some little comical remarks. Oh, you capitalist practices in the free market. And the free market is just a little scam for rich people to get some more coins. I don't even bother with it. Like, look, if you want to talk about small business owners, whatever, but those big ones, no. Is we are in dark times still relevant? Yeah. I mean, we're even darker times now. Damn. Well, I made those. There was no virus or, you know, what's the other one? These massive protests. You had protests, but you didn't have some days long event that just spans across a whole bunch of states, or just the sentence itself? Oh no, that's a couple of videos I made, Roman. He was asking if the title is still held up, or a couple of streams rather. I would definitely say so. Is that a book? He's like, what is this thing? Well, yeah, I mean, like, and like I was trying to explain this to Ruben. The reason I got disturbed by what that guy did about Johnson is if you don't like a politician that I like, that's fine. But just as I entitle you to your view without like trying to push back on it, uh, I think the same courtesy should be paid to me because I didn't say it to start some debate or anything like that. I was just having a conversation about some broad I found attractive, and that got turned into, you know, um, people just they spin everything. No, with that particular stream, I just mentioned his name. Like the guy mentioned his name, I saw I liked him, and then that led to all that stuff being written. Because people like to argue, they love debating. So I didn't bother my own. If it's not someone I recognize, I don't even thumb it up. Just pretend you didn't even see it. Because I just there's nothing to gain from it. You know, people I appreciate will get the hearts, and the ones that I don't will get the farts. You know, it's really disturbing that we have so many people that I don't know. I was never really into commenting on other people's stuff that much, unless it was someone I personally knew, because a lot of times, because the person who makes the stuff will be nice, and then the people around them are just these pricks. Like I mentioned, being on one person's channel, leaving some comment that was not insulting the person at all, and then getting called a racial slur. And I was just sitting there thinking to myself, it's so sad that I like the person, but I don't like any of you. You guys are just pricks. You just say nasty stuff to each other. Hmm. Very underrated. I have a lot of. I in general feel underrated in more ways than one. I mean, if you saw some of the like just the trash that was written on that Why Don't Approach Anymore video, man, they were going crazy. Someone called me a socialist. I mean, which is fine, but it's not relevant. It's kind of like me and Envoy having a conversation about the Democrats and Republicans, and I say, hey, but at least we're not Raiders fans. Like what? What? Anyways, I'm gonna get out of here because I am very tired. I'll be doing a stream tomorrow and then on Monday as well. I hope that this was enjoyable. And like I said, I do try to put out the stuff I schedule. It's just there's other things that come up. Sometimes there's writer's block. Um, but again, I'm going to try to put at least the two videos I mentioned earlier out next week. So, and then maybe episode 41 because it's mostly like it's a little bit over the halfway mark, and I'm trying to do some stuff with it and make sure it's all right. So, see you later. Have a good day.